And here we are once again. Welcome back, people, to MSRL F1 Asia Series. This is season number 6, and we are in round number 3 at Circuit of the Americas. Joining me today in the comms box, Nick. How are you?
Hi, great to be here. How are you?
Well, just had Maggie Goreng and a dinner, and I think we are even waiting for the actual Grand Prix right after this. So us Asians having to burn the midnight oil to watch the American leg of F1. I guess it's always fun times when you have to stay up the whole night.
I'm not as ambitious enough to stay up the whole night, but it is always fun to see races here in America.
Mm-hmm. All right. And we have 13 drivers today out on track for Circuit of the Americas. Nick, tell us just a little bit of how do you feel about this track? I know you have loved this track over in ACC. I've seen you many times around there, and we even had our endurance together. So a little bit of a bittersweet memories here and there. What's your
Oh,
opinion on this track?
love is a very strong word. I won't say I love it. It is a very difficult track in a GT car. Tell you that for sure. Having compared to F1 cars, less downforce, right, makes Sector 1 so hard to control. At least coming
Mm.
into turn 3, turn 4, turn 5, the entire complex is just so hard on a GT car. But for an F1 car, it's just so easy to just breeze by without even braking, I assume. Then Sector 2, just long straights. That's when you can take a break from the chaos that is Sector 1. And then Sector 3 is where you really have, it really tests you because you have so many late turning corners, so many half hairpins. And then coming to the very
Mm-hmm.
last U-turn before into the last corner. Last corner is the most deceiving one because you think it's a right-hander, but it turns out it's more than a right-hander. Then you just
Is it a right-hander?
most of the time you just run out.
You mean a
No, it's
left-hander?
more than that.
Oh.
I mean left-hander, a very sharp left-hander,
Yeah, true.
right angle corner. Might want to
Exactly.
say.
Yeah, these corners are pretty wide and open, and as we've seen in real life also, right? After the back straight, the long back straight, the slow section is a spot for overtaking and switchbacks and dive bombs, and all that fun stuff happens in Sector 3. So I suppose we have to keep our eyes peeled whenever the cars enter Sector 3, because you never know. At any time, someone might just send it on the inside or get a cutback around the outside and go side by side on the triple rights. That is always going to be an option for overtaking. I don't see much overtaking in Sector 1 unless you send it again into Turn 1, right? It's again the kind of corner that is quite wide on the entry, but then on the apex, on the exit, it tightens up. So there's bound to be some collisions in lap 1.
But also you gotta remember also turn 1 is an uphill, but at the end of the uphill it kind of flattens out. So a lot of cars actually when you go over the crest might actually start to lock up at the very end. So it's actually really tricky to overtake right there. But if you're committed enough, if you're brave and strong enough on the brakes, you might just give it. And also if you block the entry of the corner, of course you're just gonna get the position for a good exit into turn 2. Huh?
Yeah, locking up, I think it's definitely going to be an issue around here, especially with all the bumps, like you said. It's going to be not the smoothest ride. Well, it's still better than in real life, as we saw yesterday in qualifying and FP1. That the cars are literally just bouncing all over the track. We saw Charles Leclerc's pole lap, and you can see the car is just at every corner there's a bump, or even a slight dent, I'll say, in the track sometimes, not just a bump, maybe just a dip. And that also causes a car to, you can hear the revs, it's just going over the bumps, and drivers are having a little time, like roller coaster, bobbing their heads left, right, and center. Anyway,
Yeah, it is a pretty
yeah.
rough track, that's for sure.
I believe it is time to go, and it's 10:15, and we should get going. So yeah, let's give the heads up to the drivers, and we'll get into the lobby. And 13 drivers are here. We are waiting for one more driver to join us, and then he will be, well, the Alpine is just in his lift apparently, getting back home, and he'll be in the lobby very soon.
racing to get into that seat.
Okay.
But yeah, also we realize as well. Speaking of the track being bumpy, that's not something that's getting rendered out in this game, is it now? Compared to games like ACC, whereas in ACC, especially into the uphill into turn one, you at least get the unevenness of a artificial hill that we have here in Coda. But in F1, is it as bumpy as what you see in ACC?
It's
Because in
not
real
as
life, it's really
bumpy
bumpy.
because I believe it's, first of all, it's not it's using an older scan of the track, which is from way back, few years back, when the track was way smoother than it is today. So I say in a sense, having a smoother track is a bit nicer to drive. But then if you go into into the bumpiness of it, you start to get into tracks like Monaco where it's super bumpy, and imagine a fast track like Kota where it is bumpy. I think the force feedback is going to be giving us some good workout on the wrist for today. So yeah, there you go. We are finally into the session. I hope my screen is showing up correctly over in Discord and in the live stream. And welcome chat, welcome everyone. And straight away we have some drivers already talking about strategies around here. Looks like it's dry around here, and I suppose dry races are good, but we don't have a clue what happens in the race, so drivers will be having that knowledge to their advantage. Or in the comms box though, if we want to be sneaky, we can always jump into the voice chats and find out what's happening. Looks like it is all dry for qualifying though.
It looks like it's bright outside. I was gonna ask, have we seen a wet Coda before?
Wet Kota. Oh, that is going to be interesting if we ever had. Well, it reminded me of season 4 actually, when we had a wet race, wet to dry race for our season 4 race, and that was fun, and not so fun in some sense. And I remember racing with my teammate back then, who was a Chris, Noobster we call him. You know him as well, So yeah, the wets is definitely tricky, even in any game, especially given that it becomes exponentially harder to overtake, and there's no DRS in the wets, and overtaking someone on the straight is going to be, well, virtually impossible. So it's a matter of waiting for someone to make a mistake. And as we say that, we finally have a bunch of drivers finally going out on track. Lampy is the first one to exit the pit lane. I suppose he'll be needing some practice after missing out the last race due to connection issues. He's back today, and just in time for, well, I would suppose some sort of a championship bid here. And P1 seems to be clean sailing for Shari's right now. 2 races he's won, Nick. And what do you make of that performance so far?
I think he's just on a different level. I think Charis at this point is just gonna cruise it. It's gonna be like Raiden in ACC.
Yes.
Time will tell. I think the competition for the top 4 is still pretty strong. It's just that due to the amount of fighting that we have from P2 to P4, it just allows for P1 to just hop away easily. But it's still good racing. Who knows? Charis is showing that they make minimal mistakes, but one simple mistake might just cost them one day. So it could always be anyone's game. We can't always just have a perfect season every single day, can we now?
Exactly. And with the likes of Destiel missing out today, that's one more competition out of the way. So Shari's had a clean sailing previously in Austria. Today as well, in Kota, we have Shari's and Zach. So once again, I'd say these two will be your contenders for pole today, unless something unexpected happens. Seems to be a dry qualifying at least. And well, I'd say Zach in the AlphaTauri will definitely need some luck after having a bit of bad luck in the first 2 races, getting tangled in incidents and whatnot. That's part of racing, I suppose. But you can never get too unlucky as well. There's always a time where you'll get your chance. So I hope this is the race he gets his chance, as we ride off board with Lampy here in Sector 1, as you can see, flicking the car left, right and center. Oh, and he gets impeded there. That is a Red Bull. of, oof, I don't know who that was. Was that Sharis that impeded him? My goodness, it was him. So that is gonna be.
Had to bail right there.
He had to bail his lap right away. And I wonder if Lampy was on a set of medium tires. He was, so on a banker run. I don't suppose that will matter too much, but impeding is still impeding here.
And there is another Red Bull right behind them. Not sure if he's on a hot lap coming down into the back straight.
Looks like both Red Bulls are still on the out laps here. Yeah, they're just chilling, having the championship runs, I suppose, like in real life, just formation laps.
I have to say, just looking at the map, there are a few clusters that you have right now, especially in Sector 1. Is that the AlphaTauri with the Williams and the other Aston Martin coming down into Sector 2? I'd say drivers need to start, breaking out a bit more just so they get their own pace. But I also know that some drivers will actually want to have a tow. So it's really just up to you to figure out if you want to be as close as you want or if you want to give yourself some room just in case you catch up.
Yeah, that's the tricky part, no? Having a tow around here might be beneficial on the back straight, on the pit straight, but everywhere else in the corners you're gonna get that bit of dirty air that might just off-put you, lose you some pace here. Yeah, it's up to drivers to coordinate with that. We have some drivers with two drivers in the team. The Mercedes are there, the Alpines are there, the Red Bulls are there, so they can always coordinate for a tow in case they need a good lap here and there. And speaking of which, we have a first representative lap time here on the board by Shaheb with a 1:34.1. Kenring immediately goes 0.2, Wumax with a 0.3, Ernest the scientist goes P4 with a 0.4. So we have 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. Do we get a 0.5 for P5 anytime soon?
Hopefully. What I'm curious is why is Swiss on the intermediates, or is that glitch in the timing?
No, it's not a glitch. It is indeed a tactic that we use in F1 here to the folks who are still new and figuring out what's happening. Why do we use intermediates in the dries? Well, it's sort of a countermeasure to you have some connection issues, or if you have some equipment issues, so we allow you to run the intermediates for your first run in qualifying, sort of to set a banker lap and save a set of soft tires strategically for the race. And thus you can see drivers running on the intermediates. Well, I suppose we could, someday we can introduce some sort of a like an Inters championship like's been done in the Creator Series, which is always going to be wacky and funny, but that's probably a good sideshow that we can have. Lamphy, despite being impeded there in his first lap, he goes P1 with that medium lap time, 33.3. So the lap times are coming down. I say we are nowhere close to the pole times. So Sharis goes with a 32.6. So immediately, puts off Lamphy by 7/10 there for P1.
Is in the way of someone else. Why are they racing out here? You see the Mercedes racing, trying to get a hot lap here, Swiss, but it's definitely getting impeded by Shahir. I think that's going to be in the stewarding's notes in a bit, but I don't think Swiss will really mind given that they're in the Inters. Maybe they're going to soft soon.
Probably they wouldn't mind, given that it's a banker run, and we'll give attention to his teammate here, Nabil, now who starts his first lap. He is on the soft tires though. We are not. This time it is actually a glitch on the leaderboard which shows as intermediates, but he is actually on the soft. There he goes. Reset it, and it is the soft tires on Nabil's car. Purple Sector 1.
Oh, are we gonna see a Mercedes on the podium?
Oh, not yet. Not yet. He's just invalidated his lap time coming out of the S section here. So that's the thing again, isn't it? Like you mentioned earlier, track limits are going to be an issue around here. It's especially a bit more, especially Sector 1 with all the sweeping corners. And into Sector 2 and 3, I would say that's much of an issue, right? With the slow corners.
Yeah. Sector 2 and 3 are less of an issue. Sector 1 is because of how much high-speed corners there are and also how flat it is. Drivers just want to take every last single track limits that you can get for yourself. If not, you're gonna lose tenths. I've seen drivers in ACC where you will have drivers have basically 2 to 3 tenths difference from just aiming your exits, right? So it's going to be a very big difference. But drivers also need to be careful, especially here, to not get as much track warning as you could, or else you're going to get disqualified. 30 seconds is
Ooh.
what you can get the most.
Yeah, and speaking of that, we have the driver in P12, Hideo, the McLaren, who did jokingly mention that he might just get a 30-second time penalty from accumulated track limit penalties here due to the sheer number of possibilities of getting track limit warnings around here. So we wish him best of luck that he doesn't get disqualified like he did in Qatar. He came close to getting disqualified in Austria as well. So it's just a thing that drivers will sometimes take time to adapt to the game, and we hope that he cleans up his driving, and we'll see him much higher up the standings and not getting demoted due to time penalties.
He definitely is pretty quick. Yes, they have a lot of potential. They are, I wouldn't say they're aggressive. They are firm in terms of who they want to overtake and what they want to do on track. But they definitely need to clean up their cleanliness. They also have to tone back down aggression, just to be safe. At the end of the day, we are racing to the end of the lap. We're not racing, just for track. We are also racing for your final positions on your timesheet. So just be careful. Make sure there's no penalties. Make sure you reel it back in. A couple of positions is better than 24 seconds of penalty, So it's definitely something they gotta take into account when you do it. Speaking of which, Hideo is still in the pits since the start of qualifying. Did they go a qualifying ban?
No, I believe no. That's not a ban for him, but he is probably just waiting for a clear patch of track here. And well, it doesn't seem too busy right now, as most cars have done their laps. Hot Stuff, who were just riding on board, the other Red Bull goes to P3. So strong showing from the Red Bulls here in the first two races, and that's a good sign that they are actually serious or contending for the constructors as well, which are leading the way in the drivers championship. That definitely helps them to gain some more points in the constructors too. And having a good second driver here, Hot Stuff, I'm pretty sure he's like serving the Checo Perez role here in the season here, season 6. So they'll be happy to to keep steamrolling through these rounds here. 10 rounds altogether, and we are in the third one here today.
Checo Perez, but actually doing something.
Oh yes, oh exactly.
I haven't followed F1 enough, but I follow in just enough for the memes.
Ah yes, the memes is where everything lies.
Kendra is asking for a invite, Elvin.
Oh sure, thank you.
Get that sorted out.
There you go.
Thank you, Zenoop.
All right, thank you for the info, boys. And let's get back on track here. We have Lampy, who is on his first set of soft tires here. Currently provisional P2 with a 33.3 on that medium tires. 7 tenths the gap to P1. How much can he close up? He's only up by 3.5 tenths by the end of sector 2. So that's not going to be close enough even to put him anywhere near pole. So Charis had a stonking lap there on the medium tires. I wish we could get a on board with him post race to publish that for the viewers. Anyway, the last two corners, Lampy now sends it on the second last corner, keeps it within track limits, and last corner comes up real quickly. You can always send it early into this apex here for the qualifying lap because the finishing line comes up so close. 5 tenths improvement. Lampy is still just over a tenth behind. Keeps P2 for now, extends his gap to P3.
We see Hideous. Oh, no, Hideous is not out yet. Nabil on the out lap, finally. In the soft set. Hopefully, Nabil can set a time. He has not set a time yet. Switz.
Oh, there you go. That's the answer. Zach goes P1 with a 32.6. Only just 300ths quicker than Charis. So that's probably an invitation for Charis to go on the softs as well and take the pole position away. And maybe add on to his statistics for the season here.
Do you notice that the top 5 are within a second of each other? I'd say we have the closest grade that we have here in MSRL this season compared to any other season we have. I think that's really exciting with how close we are in the top.
Oh yeah, interesting. There you go. Exactly like you mentioned.
Yeah. I think the racing this season also has been really well. It is a bit slightly aggressive. It is a bit harsh, but it's still good racing. The game allows for these kind of harsh racings, but we also gotta remember that we're an open wheeler and we gotta be a little bit more careful in case we lose some downforce parts. We don't want to lose some wings, do we now?
Yeah,
We should be in
exactly.
one car.
Yeah, losing a front wing here, it's gonna be detrimental. You lose a lot of downforce. Thankfully, we have reduced damage, so only the front wing can get damage around here. But if you do suffer from a wing damage, you'll still suffer from the effects of it. You're gonna lose downforce. You're gonna lose. You're gonna be scrubbing your tires more and all that funny stuff. So not exactly the best thing, right? You're losing a wing here.
When are we gonna move to realistic damage then, huh?
Well, I suppose one day when we get a full grid of esports level drivers, maybe we can have some sim damage lobbies.
You gotta be a bit harsher to your drivers. Can't just let them,
Oh well, the day F1 developers develop a much realistic and much, well, I'd say kinder damage model, and much more raceable cars, that you can go side by side without getting ping ponged on the first slightest bit of contact. I'd say that's when we'll definitely consider it. But anyway,
it sounds just like we're gonna need to go to iRacing.
well, I don't suppose everyone could afford a subscription. Yeah. And there you go. Nabil sets a P9 on his first attempt here, and I think that might just be his last attempt. He would not have enough time to go back to the pits and get back out for another run. So I'd say he is saving his set of tires here, and that will be done and dusted for him. And we have 3 minutes left. Kendra has joined. That brings us up to 14 drivers if he can get his car selected. So he'll be lucky if he can get that in.
Kendra's trying to figure out things out. If you want to help him, Delvin. Still a bit unsure about how he wants to choose teams and all.
You'll have to bring up the spectator menu, and then you have to scroll through the cars and select your car. So you can just pass the message to him. Yep. Well, otherwise he can just race as any car, in the session. But the stewards might just be a little harsh and just give a PP for being late. But we will try to accommodate where we can. And in the meantime, we still have 2 minutes left. This will be the final runs for all the drivers. And we have a question from the chat. What happens if you don't set a lap in quali without a quali ban? Well, it's up to you. You don't set a time, that's up to you. Exactly.
Well, here's the thing about qualifying. For us, we don't care, but in real life, I don't think you're allowed to even race if you don't qualify. It's not.
Exactly. There's that 107% rule, which sort of mandates you to set a lap time within 107% of the best time, and if you don't do that, well, you don't even get to start the race. Nabil retires from the session in the pit lane, so that's his qualifying coming to an end, and we now ride on board with Sharis with what's probably going to be a pole attempt here.
Sector 1 or taking it ever so slightly as close to the curb as you can. Coming into turn 6, cut the corner as close as you can before you flick it right into this left-hander. Make sure you don't run wide here though, or else you're gonna have a invalidated time. Into turn 11, brake on the 50-meter board. Be patient here before you put on the gas. Make sure you don't run wide here. This is another point where you lose all your progress that you can from track limits alone. And I think Sharis is doing really well.
Yeah, 10th and a half up so far already. And now into sector, well, the end of sector 2. Turn 12, the hairpin. Cuts quite a bit of it. Risky, but it takes it. And into sector 2, the end of it is 5/10 up already. This is looking like a 31 coming, Nick.
Might be. We might even, if it will be qualifying. It'll be a very stunning match if Sharis is able to get it done. Zach though, where is Zach? Is Zach gonna run another flying lap though?
Oh, he might just be in the background. 2 corners to go. Keeps it clean within track limits. Last corner here and on to the finish straight. Power down. There you go. 31.9, 7 tenths.
Nice.
He takes pole position for now. Can anyone else improve? Coming across the track, Zach, who is in sector 2, he can only improve by less than half a tenth into the last 2 corners here. He will still keep P2 if all things goes right as it is. Switch goes up to P3, and that is a second row start for him in his second race in a row. Across the line, 2 tenths up, keeps P2, 5 tenths off the pole though. Wow.
Okay, Switch on straight though. Where's Switch? Switch is still on the track, is he not?
Switch, oh, he has completed his lap. He's backed off finally. It looks like he's backed off here there. Yeah, he has backed off, so it's not improving. What about Shahid now coming across the last 2 corners here? Is he going for another lap? No, he's called it a day as well. And looks like everyone is not really improving. Elia in P7, he has not improved. He has invalidated his lap time. Hot Stuff is also back into the pits. Even I don't think we have any more drivers setting a valid lap time here out on track as well. So yeah, everyone has done their laps. Kendra, thankfully, has finally joined and selected the Alpine, so he will be able to start the race, albeit from the last position here. Top 15 scores, points here in MSRL. So if you just survive, till the end, you definitely win a point or 2. And looks like everyone here will share the sentiment, I suppose. But for now, it's Charis who takes pole position in season number 6, round number 3, the USA Grand Prix here at the Circuit of the Americas. And what a beautiful lap it was. 5 tenths the gap he took it by. And that might just be another dominant performance from him, given that his closest rival Destiel is not here and Zach is still 5 tenths away.
But racing it's one thing to qualify here, but it's also another to race here. It's really up to the drivers to make sure that they could keep it clean, especially turn 1. I think there's going to be a lot of action in turn 1. I think the drivers are close enough to fight this entire race, but who knows? Maybe we'll have small mistakes here and there that might or may not affect your drivers, but hopefully everyone keeps it clean, and we'll have a very good race coming soon.
Yeah, and well, I suppose the advantage that you show in qualifying, that translates also into the race. So if you have a 5 tenths performance gap in qualifying, that might even turn out to be a bigger gap sometimes in the race. Sometimes it's even smaller. Who knows? We'll find out shortly as we head into the race, for which we will be just having a 2 minutes break. Are we allowed to cut the pit exit white line in quali? Yes, qualifying you can cut as long as you don't cause any issues, any collisions with anyone. That should be fine. In the race, it's definitely not allowed. Now, Nick, 2 minutes waiting time. What do we have here before we go into the race? What's your predictions? It's a dry race by the looks of it. So, what do you expect from the grid here today?
Well, I think I expect some mixed strategies. I think some of the drivers want to sprint out of the gap as much as possible. Get yourself into clean areas, just so you don't get impeded by other drivers racing around you. Some will play the long game, some will be in hydro compounds. Just to think about playing the long game, they'll be fine with being in traffic. Keep it cool, minimal mistakes. They are expecting drivers to make mistakes all around them, and they just want to finish the race as clean as possible. I think that's a very good strategy here as well with this grid. But with the front, I assume Charis, Zach, as well as Switz will be in the softs, unless Switz has a different idea up his sleeve. Lamphy, it could be a mixed game. I think he might want to go into the mediums. What do you think?
Well, I seem to be stuck in the race director. Well, that's not a good sign. Hopefully, I can exit that. But yeah, looking at the race strategies here so far, everyone is on mixed set of tires. Some on the softs, some on the mediums, some on the hards. Zach and Sweet on the hards here, going long apparently, and then some drivers are on the mediums here looking for the alternate strategy. So yeah, Flaky says Max wins the sprint and full race, of course. Well, you're right in some sense. Charis is showing some sort of dominance here in the first 2 rounds. Into round 3, he might just do the same thing. Uh, yeah, tie strategy is always going to be interesting. Soft to mediums, if it's possible. Soft to hards, medium to hards. It's probably what most drivers are going to go for, or hard to mediums here. I don't see anyone even attempting the two stops unless there's a rightly timed safety car or VSC. You can gain a lot on the fresh tires around here.
Oh yeah, speaking of which, what's your prediction of safety car? Do you think we're gonna get a safety car or even the VSC with this track? Because we remember there is a lot of runoff here, so chances of drivers crashing out is pretty low.
Hmm. That brings a good thought of train of thoughts though, because despite there being quite a bit of runoff here, it is quite easy to if you lose control and the car just drives into the wall, you might just see a DNF or two, and especially in sector 3 where the triple right hander is the fast corners and the walls are pretty close there as well, and if drivers make a mistake or they get into a collision, a race ending collision with one another, I'd say that's a good chance that we might have a safety car or a VSC at the very least, and that might open up some strategic options for some of the drivers around here.
What are the strategy options if there is an actual safety car here though?
That'll be a tough one, but I if it was up to me, around lap 6 or 7, I'd probably just jump in for a fresh set of tires here. If I'm on the mediums, I'll jump onto the hards. If I'm on the hards, I'll jump onto a set of mediums. I'll definitely have to make another stop towards the end and to make sure the tires go the distance. But like I mentioned, the fresh tires, they gain you so much time, and with the time loss negated under VSC or safety car, you're just setting yourself up for a much better race towards the end. And we've seen that time and time in many leagues, even in practice races that we have done. Fresh tires are just superior compared to the old tires. But yeah, if safety car does come out, I'm pretty sure we are in for a good strategic battle here in terms of tie choices. And well, I don't know if it's gonna rain. Looks like it is not. If everyone is on different tie strategies here, I'm assuming it's gonna be staying dry for majority of the race, if not the whole race.
Yeah, it definitely looks really really dry out here in Austin. Honestly, I don't really expect any much rain here, but things might happen. Who knows? But I don't know. Speaking of which, back to how easily it could spin. I guess Sector 1 will be definitely the place I think will have the most spins, given how then 3, 4, and 5, that entire complex. If you don't do it right and get some snap overs here, you will get affected as you lose controls.
Okay, and we are
Oh no.
back, but however, looks like we have some issues here. So damn it, good game once again, and we have some troubles here to load into the lobby, and I suppose I'll have to leave the lobby. I can't even leave the lobby because the game has just locked me in here. Good old game.
Hey,
Good old game. Now
thanks,
I'll
Cody's. You can
thank
all
you,
F4.
Codis. Well, that's
All
the
F4 jetpack.
yeah. So well, I'm the lobby host, so that's gonna cause some issues to everyone. Let's hope that
Oh no.
is not going to crash the game. He there has been DSQ'd from what I can see because he can't race, so that's all right. And well, I'm gonna hit escape now. If anything happens, we'll probably have a lobby restart. Otherwise, I say good luck to everyone who's in the lobby. We will see you shortly in a minute or two. And well, let's hope everything stays as it is.
Hopefully. But you'll never know. Now it's just hope for the best. Well, if we see anyone in the server start yelling, we know what's happened. Speaking of
Exactly.
server, if anyone's here not part of MSRL, and if you want to join us racing in F1 or even in ACC, you can join us in our Discord server. Links in the description. We do F1 races. Currently we're running our 6th season of F1, but we also have the basement where we run things like Assetto Corsa Competizione. We are planning on our next season of the basement. We might not go into GT3s, but it will be something interesting, that's for sure. So if you're interested, definitely join us on Discord.
I wonder what that will be.
It's gonna be cop cars. We're gonna scare the heck out of people without traction control.
Oh, not the Porsche Cup cars.
Listen, it's fun. The cop cars are fun.
Okay, now moment of truth. If we can join the lobby, let me see if anyone's online. I could probably join anyone in Steam, and that is a good thing. But I have no idea who is the new host right now. I will find out real shortly, and let's see who is the lobby host.
You think a game in 2023 will remove the peer-to-peer feature and just have a dedicated server?
Well, we hope there is a dedicated server soon, at least in 24 onwards. And Switch is the new lobby host because he was the second person to join the lobby. Well, thank goodness for the logic. It prevailed for once. And I'll just spectate the session and join in. And that should be us in the session. And let me just quickly get it sorted back in Discord if it's up. And I think we are back, right?
Yes, it is back. Don't worry, I can see the stream. Now the question is, what has happened since we're not on spectate? Well, we see Switch in P4. What happened there?
Switch in P4. What has happened? And good question. Two laps are gone. Now start of lap 3. Shari's pulling away Zag, Lamphy, and Switch within and Shahid. You know, a 4-man battle here forming up for P2 here. Maybe just a slow start here, considering he is on the hard tires here, Switch. Yeah, he is on the hard tires, so probably just a poor getaway off the line. But being on the hard tires, I think he'll be safe for the foreseeable time here.
Yeah, he's definitely gonna be playing the long game here. He should also not be too worried about catching up to the crew. He is on the hard tire after all. He's gonna be struggling for grip compared to the rest. But as you can see, Zach already 3.5 seconds behind Charis. Charis in the soft already running away within two to three laps. That is incredible.
Yeah, and DRS has been enabled this lap, so we can see Switch a bit closer to Lampy here. So will the two country mates go at it? I think Switch, knowing him, he's the patient driver here. He'll just pull out of the slipstream, try not to get overtaken from Shahi around here. At the end of the day, you want to maintain the momentum here. And we have a few battles here now. Wumax and Nabil here trading positions into the into the end of second sector here, and now into the slow section here. Wumax on the softer medium tires gets a move on Nabil on the back straight, but it's not too far off the leading pack here, and we have a secondary pack forming up. So interesting to see in the early rounds here. Everyone keeping it clean. No collisions, no issues as what we know in the first 2 laps.
Hopefully. But also, at the meantime, when Wumax was overtaking Nabil, if you didn't notice, Kendra also overtook Ernest going into P11. Kendra trying to catch up from missing out on qualifying. Hopefully we see him climb up the ladder, but where do you expect Kendra to land within the field?
If he has the pace, I think he's definitely in contention for P6 or 7 here if he's managing to stay within the 1 track limits, 2 within the touching distance of the drivers in front. As you can see, there is not much of a big gap here. Speaking of that, Kendra has actually binned it coming onto this S section, and that was short-lived. That was short-lived, and that's a safety car like mentioned. And Kendra becomes the first casualty of the race. And we were just talking about this, how the walls are pretty close in these fast sections here. And that has caught out a driver here. Safety car though. Now, how many of the soft drivers do you think will jump into the pits right now to get rid of this and get out your set of mediums or hards?
Well, I don't know if Shari's just going to the pits though, because we gotta think about it. If Shari's goes to the pits right now, he might lose track position, and I don't think Charis will want to lose track positions. I think he would be in his best interest to just stay out, keep the track position, because he's gonna make a gap regardless. And it might be good for him to just.
Well, moment of truth, as we can see. Now he jumps into the pits, so I think it's maybe a good call here, given that he has a pace advantage, and fresher tires will definitely be beneficial here. We'll see maybe the likes of Zach staying out, Lampy staying out, Switch staying out, Hot Stuff jumping in. So the Red Bulls are double stacking here.
Yeah, no, it's surprising that no one in the front pack has pitted beside Charis. I think Charis will not be happy that they are 5 positions down, but hey, it's Charis. They will catch back. That is definitely without a doubt. But here's the other question: who else has not pitted?
Who else
We
has not
see.
pitted? There you go. Details are up. It looks like, well, everyone except for, well, Sharis, Hot Stuff, Elia, and Scientist have pitted. Zenubi has pitted as well. So there you go. 5 drivers have pitted on the safety car, under the safety car, and going on to a fresh set of, well, a mixture of hard tires, of medium tires here. Sharis goes onto the hards here. So he'll go long from here. And we have Hot Stuff onwards, P9 onwards on the medium tires, so that's definitely a 2-stop coming in for everyone here. Even Sharius will have to convert this into a 2-stop. 4 laps
Yeah.
fresher tires. How much
Yeah,
can he take advantage?
Yeah, here's the question: do you think Charis made a bad call though? I feel like Charis made a bad call.
It might be because you have a DRS straight in front of you. It might not have been the right decision, but then again, the soft tires they melt so quickly. It would have been beneficial for him to get rid of those tires before he got swamped by these drivers in lap 7 or 8. So, well, we're about to find out once the safety car goes in, probably at the end of the next lap. It's just out for this lap. All drivers have bunched up, so we'll have a minute or two to breathe and catch up on what's happening here. So let's bring up the details here. As you can see, drivers that have made up the most position. Kenrick from P10 has made up all the way up to P4. Sharis, who started in P1, has made that pit stop, and he's down to P5 already. Hot Stuff and Elia also made their pit stops here. So the grid is all mixed up with different strategies, different age tires here. We still have Shahe stayed out on the soft tires in P4. So he is looking like, probably the most vulnerable of the pack here if they decide to, switch around and go for pit stops. And Kenrick jumps into the pits here. And I believe he did not want to double stack with Lamphy last time out. He was closer to the end of the grid, so maybe he'll not lose that much. He will be back out in P12 though, but on the freshest tires of all.
Yeah, but that's the thing about these safety cars. People don't want to pit in the train because you lose all the position because the entire grid's already there. People want to pit in when cars are still bunching up because that's when you are required to maintain a specific gap. That's where you get the least time loss in terms of pitting under the safety car. But now, as you can see, Kendrick now all the way down P12. He's going to have to do a lot of work just to catch up with the rest of the grid to where he's supposed to be. But speaking of back to Shah here in the soft tires, I think he will be a driver that we should look out on to see if Sharis has made the right call or not in terms of swapping out from the softs under the safety car. Don't you think?
Yeah, we have both sides of the coins here, right? Shahe on the soft tires, staying on the softs, and then we have Sharis on the soft tires from P1 boxing, getting rid of the soft tires. So yeah, it's gonna be a question of who made the better choice here. And I'm pretty sure the drivers here are all well seasoned drivers. They have their reasons, they have their choices, and probably a team engineer or someone, if there's someone with them in their voice chats, giving them an idea. Let's go for a pit stop here and be aggressive, or be conservative. Either way, we're about to find out, as the safety car will likely be going in at the end of this lap. And there you go, confirmation that safety car will be in this lap. And newbie Nick, take us through the restart, what the drivers will be doing before the race starts here.
I think Zach might want to bunch up the field as much as they could and just get a very good jump as the safety car comes in. As you can see, he's already pulling back slightly from the safety car. But will it be enough to jump the entire grid? It is a very, very complex third sector right here. Let's see as the AlphaTauri slowly rolls in on the two right-handers on the third sector, with Lamphy and Switz tailing very close behind Sharis. Shahir is still the only one in the softs. Sharis in new hards. We will see how the top split of this grid is gonna react to the restart. As we see Zach still not there yet, but the grid is very eager. They're all bunching up really close. Hopefully, there's no accidents as this happens. And here he goes, Zach, full throttle on the way out. As we see Lamfish, Switch, Shahir, Saris at the back, all really close. I think they all did a very good job. And Zanoop already overtaken Kendrick on the restart.
Yeah, and we
Into
can
turn
see
one.
into
Oh.
turn one hot stuff as well on the medium tires. They're sending it on Nabil on the inside, so making good use of the fresher medium tires here, and up into P7 he goes. Nabil now under attack from Elia, so he's getting swamped by the medium runners here on the restart here. So probably Nabil might be questioning his decision for staying out on the hard tires here now.
Well, you could say that because his tires are a bit old, but he still has a lot of life left in that hard tire. So he might get rewarded for staying out and just having a one stop. That might be beneficial for him. Because
Oh,
he has,
looks like Zenubi has been disqualified for driving in the wrong way. He was spun out,
no.
and that's not gonna be wonderful news for him. Oh boy, that was a anticlimactic ending there for him. And well, real quickly, let's get back to the action out on track here. Sharis has got Shahe there on those all those soft tires here. Now Womax is looking at the back of Shahe, the Ferrari here, under attack from all sort of drivers and tires here right behind him. Up in front as well, Zach managed to pull a 1.7 second gap, finally getting the good break he needs. Maybe this is the time he'll finally show his pace, but we'll find out shortly. Can Shahe hold on to the lead? Switz is also mounting an attack on his fellow countryman into turn 1 here. He is within 3/10. Switz is going for it. He's deploying the battery, and now he gets into the toe, pulls alongside, but does not go for the move just yet. Okay, and down behind we have Wumax being overtaken here by Hot Stuff into turn 1. Side by side they are coming out of turn 1, and looks like Hot Stuff just pulls ahead with the use of a bit of battery there, and now he will be looking at the back of Sharise. But no, look at that. Elia has got a run. Whoops. Elia has gotten a run on Wumax here on the S section here. Gets a cutback. Almost taps the rear of Wumax here on the exit of the S section. Now we plunge downhill into the hairpin here. This is an overtaking spot. It is an overtaking spot. And Wumax has been overtaken here by Elia on the entry.
Amazing move right there, I must say. Very daring, especially into the hairpin. You do get the benefit of it going uphill during the hairpin, so you get extra grip and definitely get the job done. Now it's time to defend on the straight. Hope he's able to do it as we see Hot Stuff mounting that entire curve on sector 3. Coming into it, as you can see the entire front grid right in front of him. It's gonna be a very good show in front of him. Hopefully he's gonna be looking at it and thinking about seeing them making a mistake. That way he can capitalize on it, but still a long ways to go. He has to manage his own tires as well as the fronts. But you can see Switz and Lamphy both on used tires, whereas Hot Stuff is on the new mediums. Could we see Hot Stuff maybe catching up to Lamphy and Switz in a few laps time? As we see DRS is enabled, as we see Lamphy sliding ever so slightly.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you're right. He has been caught up here by Hot Stuff, and now on the inside here, sends it again on the inside into turn 1. Wonderful overtaking spot, wonderful move setup there, coming out of the last corner and up into P4 he goes. Those 4 laps fresher tires are proving to be making the difference here. Sharis in the meantime, as you mentioned, has pulled away from Switz and Hot Stuff and Lamphy, and is now only within a second of Zach for P1 here.
You just say that. I just realized Sherry's went from P5 all the way to P2 and I didn't even notice it.
When did that happen? Exactly. We'll have to get some sort of replay here. And we have some action. The Ferrari of Shahe on the old soft tires here, getting swamped by everyone once again. Elia goes through, and Ernest, the scientist, almost went into the back of him, had to come off the brakes real abruptly to not go into the back of the Ferrari. Now into this hairpin here. Shahe is coming back. Switz and Hot Stuff are going for positions here, as you can see up in front, and 3 wide into the hairpin. This is gonna be sketchy, and Elia comes ahead, and he goes into P6. Scientist now side by side into the slow section here.
Extremely amazing racing right here by these drivers, but I think it kind of shows that even though I did prefer the staying out strategy. It's definitely not the case to do so in the softs, as you see Shahir dropping back like flies, coming into P8. He has to do something to this strategy real quick to cover this race, or else he's just gonna fall more and more.
And now we may have a swap of lead here into turn 1. Sharice on the back of Zach here, goes around the outside. What a brave move that will be if he can pull this off, and he might just pull it off with the fresher tires here on the inside, and they are still side by side into the S section. Zach has to yield the position down into P2. He goes, can he now stay within 1 second of Sharice and get that DRS benefit and tow him along?
He may be, but yeah, Zach is on slightly older hard tires. Not sure how big of a difference the hard tires might show, but it is still some age difference, so there will always be some level of grip differences. Speaking of which, Delvin, how long do the hard tires last?
Good question. I think they can easily last at least 15 or 16 laps in these conditions here, but I don't think they're going to be lasting the entire race. So for sure, Sharice will have to make another pit stop regardless if he decides to go till the end. He gets a bit of a lockup here. Sharice under pressure, trying to pull away, and Zach doing his best to follow along. But here comes the third sector, where it's very mechanical, where all the fresh grip is going to be helpful, and he can see now on the exit itself, Zach pulling about a tenth and a half alone, and almost out of 1 second gap already here.
Yeah, it's definitely very telling how much more pace and grip Sharice has over Zach, and at this point against the entire grid. But speaking on back into the hard tires, that's why I was thinking, because Shahir might be thinking about staying out in the softs until he can able to get into the hards, and that's when Shahir might take a one stop over everyone else. Now that would be a very bold strategy by Shahir, but we have to see at the end of this race to see if it will pay off. What do you think? Do you think it'll pay off?
It will have to pay off in one way or another for Shahir, because he is losing touch to the front runners as the laps go by, as the sectors go by, as the turns go by, as we speak about it. It's losing more and more pace here. 11 laps on those soft tires, despite some laps under the safety car. He is losing touch, and Womax now can breathe, can smell blood there. From the red Ferrari, from the red bleeding tires of the soft tires here, he can see all red in front of him, and it's gonna be another position probably being lost for Shahir here.
And that will be really telling for the Ferrari. If hopefully they did not pull a Ferrari and make a bad call, but time will tell in this case. See Lamphy 4/10 coming up to Switz. That is getting close, as gap's getting closer and closer. Do you think Switz is gonna get attacked by Lamphy soon?
If Lamphy wants to make a move, he'll have to make it real soon, because, well, he is on the same age tires as Switz, but being on the medium tires, they are definitely going to start feeling a little second hand right around now. It's been 10 laps they are on those tires here, 11 laps as we come close to the end of this lap. And one guy who's still out on track here is Shahir. We know he's quick, but these tires are not helping him in any shape or form here. He is still staying out, hoping for another safety car, so I don't know if that's gonna come. Womax now can see that the Ferrari in front of him is starting to lose touch with the front runners here.
Yeah, it is definitely very disheartening, and as you're racing, as you see the grid slowly fade away. It's important for drivers to start to think about strategies dynamically, because if you don't think about it dynamically, this is what's gonna happen, because you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, thinking about if you should change your strategy or not, because the more you commit, the more it's not worth it to change. But then again, is it not worth it to change now, or is it not worth it to change before then? Because right now you have the problem of Shahir stuck out in the soft for 11 laps, banking on maybe just ending the race in the hards. But how much time have you lost banking on this strategy, whereas compared to Sharice already jumping in to the hard tires the moment the safety car came out? Although he did lose 5 positions at the start, as you can see, Sharice just basically caught back up.
Oh, there you go. Now back for P4 there. Like I said the last lap, maybe Lampy might have just heard me there. He went for the move now and goes for the overtake into the middle sector. At the end of middle sector here on Switz, and attempts to, maybe pull away. I don't know if he can pull away on those aging tires. 4 drivers within a second of each other for P4 right now. And while all that has been going on here, the other Red Bull driver of Hot Stuff has been reeling in Zach lap after lap, corner after corner here, and the gap is now down to 1.6 seconds. So it's looking really strong here for Red Bull, potentially a first 1-2 of the season for a team here in season number 6. Shahey calls it a day on those soft tires, now gets rid of those, and into the pits he will go for a set of medium tires to go till the end now.
Do the medium tires last to the end though?
Oh, they do last, but can they actually maintain the pace towards the end? That is going to be difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, because you gotta think about it. Shahir will have to fight for the entire grid up to get back to where he needs to be. And with all that fighting, you're definitely gonna degrade your tires more than what you're expecting it to degrade. So it's definitely something that Shahir will have to think about. I think time will tell if the strategy will pay off. But
oh, you look at that, 4 drivers into the hairpin. That actually got a bit sketchy here. Scientist had to tap on the brakes and he ran into the back of Elia. Elia now draining his battery, now going for the attack on Switz. Switz going on the attack on Lampy. There you go, on the inside, Elia goes for it, and Switz has to take avoiding actions onto the marbles, but gets a better exit on those older tires here. Still maintaining some life in those, and that actually has released Lampy just a wee bit here. Elia goes for a dive on the inside of Switz into this trip before this triple right-hander. As you can see, who's gonna come out ahead, and it is the Alpine of Elia who gets ahead. AlphaTauri of Scientist now goes through, and Switz in a moment of, well, a sector and 2, he lost 3 positions. Elia picks up a 3-second time penalty, so he's the first one to fall to those time penalties as well. Lampy now halfway through the race now has gone into the pit, so he will be going onto the hard tires, I presume, to go till the end. And this is also an undercut attempt on these 3 drivers here, so attempting to clear them with some fresher tires.
I think that would be the smart move compared to racing on track right now, as we see Elia as well as Ernest fighting side by side into Sector 1. I think Swiss has just decided to stay back because at this point, as you can see, the drivers in front
beautiful helicopter shot here, as you can see. Yeah, 3 drivers into the S section, taking different lines like you mentioned, right? And trying to stay out of each other's way, but trying to line up a move now. Yeah, it's gonna be crunch time now as Lampy has made the move into the pit, so he's the first one to jump the gun. These 3 drivers will have to respond. Nabil, while all this battle has been going on, he has managed to catch back up within 3 seconds of these 3 drivers up in front here.
Nabil being silent, trying to stay clean out the entire race. I think it's definitely done well for him now in P7 along with Switz. I think both of them, do you think the Mercedes are going to double stack? I think that's a very high chance that both of them are going to double stack. But Switz definitely needs to just stay within 3 seconds of the 2 of them in front just to get back P4. Or he might just fight for it, but I don't think Switz is the type to fight for the 2 positions when there is penalties in front of them.
And especially when he's on the older tires of the 3 of them. So he knows that, he doesn't have the pace to lead, but he has the pace just enough to maintain the momentum in the corners and stay within 1 second. So that's exactly what he's doing right now. And I wonder if someone else will jump into the pits. Zach is actually into the pits, so he's done with those hard tires. Now he'll take these medium tires till the end. So you can say sort of it's an undercut attempt to cover off Hot Stuff, to cover off from everyone else behind him. But it really has to be these first few laps, how much of a gap he can pull out here. He's down to P8 though, and he has a few cars to navigate in order to make back all those positions. Elia in P5, P4, Switch in P5, and that's a spin for the Alpine, and he's tumbling down the order as we ride on board with Kendrick. You can see just ahead of him, the Alpine is recovering back onto the track. So he was running in a good position, not anymore.
Yeah, this is why mistakes are always important to minimize here. As you can see, Switch doesn't even have to do anything, he's just overtaking, and just like that, another position gain for the Mercedes. But yeah, it's important, as I said, to be clean, to be consistent. And if really shows here, especially in demanding track like Coda, where every mistake counts because of how wild this track can be.
Oh, Lampy and Shahi here going at it at each other here. And somehow, after the pit stop phases, both of them have emerged within a second of each other and now into the middle sector here. Shahi on the fresher medium tires with the one lap undercut has actually got past Lampy. So they are, fighting with each other. Can they drag along each other? That's the thing. Switch stays on for another lap here, extending his time on these hard tires to maximize his pace on the medium tires later. Elia goes into the pits. He's lost a few positions. Kendrick now is up into P7 here.
I think Switz also noticed that, given how when he's behind someone, especially with DRS, he's able to keep up. And with that, he's decided to just stay behind someone, use them as tow, maximize as much time as he could in these hard tires since there is someone in front of him, and then just pit in when he loses that tow in front of him, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not sure if he wants to go for a move in this lap here. Maybe just gain that little bit of advantage before he goes into the pits. He might be going for it here as he turns on his battery here. DRS has been turned on here, but Scientist here defends aggressively on the inside. Can he stay ahead though? No, Switz goes ahead. So I'm guessing this is the green light that Switz needed to jump into the pits. We might be seeing him into the pit lane at the end of this lap. Shahi and Lampy going at it at each other. And Lampy went for the move. Shahi goes back for the move once again. And they are tooth and nail fighting into the middle sector here.
I think both of them should realize that they shouldn't be fighting and really work with each other to gain back the positions that they lost during the pit stop. Because this fighting phase is actually going to affect how they are going to end up in the grid if they don't watch out for how they're going to fight this moment in the race.
Yeah, and while that's been going on, Hot Stuff now inherits the race lead for the first time over here in MSRL, and he will be going a little bit longer on those medium tires here. I'm assuming he does not want to stack with his teammate Sharis, who has boxed for a set of soft tires to go till the end, and he still comes out in P to still advantage Red Bull, and Red Bull 1-2 we finally have here out on track.
Yeah, speaking of which, Switz got into the pits in the mediums, as you said. Definitely a good call by Switz. Now, when will Nabil pit? I think Nabil will definitely pit this lap, because they were a bit too close for the double stop last time around coming into this corner.
Yep, and Switz and Scientist, both of them jump into the pits at the same time here, so responding to each other. You do not want to be left out by the undercut, which is pretty powerful. You can gain about 2 to 3 seconds here on track time alone. And Scientist deciding that he wants to jump in, but look at that. On the outlap alone, Switz has pulled out a little bit of a gap here, and Scientist not able to catch up just yet. Shahi and Kendrick, now Shahi goes for the move on. Kendrick is still staying out on those older tires here. He has lost a little bit of a gap to Lampy now in P5. So things are starting to unravel here as we get into the last 10 laps of the race, with all different tire strategies converging towards the end of each other.
Yes, as you can see, only Sharis is the only one in the softs compared to the rest. The rest are stalled in mediums, in hards. I think the hard change for Sharis actually might have paid off, given that it allowed Sharis to prolong the hard compound tires that he had, and he knew he had the pace for it. And now he could just fly away in the softs as he catches up with Hot Stuff in a few, as Hot Stuff is going to come into the pits at the end of the tire stint, I think.
Yep, and finally, Nabil, the last one out on track, becomes the final driver to pit out of the hard tires here onto a set of medium tires to go till the end. 10 laps on the medium tires. I think that will easily go till the end, and that will give him plenty of life, plenty of racing opportunities here. Not sure though about Sharis. Well, he has the gap. Can he keep those soft tires alive long enough before they start to degrade and Zach starts to reel him in again? The gap is 5 seconds right now, and it's growing and growing while the soft tires are still fresh, but we still have 10 and a bit laps to go before this race ends. It's not looking that great though for Sharis if it's going to go till the end.
Yeah, how long do the soft tires supposed to last anyhow?
Well, they can last up to half a race if you got the right setup on. Towards the end, lighter fuel, I think they can go till the end from here. Charis might have done his calculations right, but pace wise they will definitely drop off like in the last 5 or 6 laps. So it is starting to get a little risky in terms of the strategy he has decided to go on to. But there you go, it pays off right now. He gets a fastest lap of the race, and while I'm fumbling my controls here, Charis goes into P1, re-inherits the lead. Still a Red Bull 1-2. It's like real life. You just see Max driving through and Checo there just prolonging his tires. Beautiful to see there.
But also speaking of this, he's saying SD life as well. I think we've seen how having 10 laps of the soft tire has played out for the Ferrari of Shahir. So I think we're gonna see maybe Charis might regret it later down, 5 to 6 laps in, as the pace starts to drop off significantly. Hopefully it does not affect enough for Zach to respond. And if anything, if Hot Stuff is able to maintain that gap, maybe Hot Stuff could help Charis be the good team member he is and fight the grid back for him.
Yeah, probably even hold up Zach for a sector or two. Every little bit of holding up definitely helps here. Gap to the leader now is, well, that's not the leader gap. The gap to the leader right now is 7.6. So Zach has to do a lot of work here on those medium tires here. Despite being 2 laps older, they will be fresher towards the end. Can he maintain this pace to catch up to Charis at the end? It's still a long way to go. 10 laps, 9 laps to go, and we're still not even close to resolving some of these on-track battles here, as we have Nabil here closing up on Elia in the middle sector here. Side by side they are. Around the outside, Nabil attempts the move, and Elia just parks it on the apex here, but now Nabil gets his switch back here. Well, he sends it on the inside, and Elia hangs it bravely around the outside now into this triple right-hander. Nabil just pulls ahead on those medium tires, giving him the superior grip. Now he's up into P10, and into the pits goes Hot Stuff out from P2, and he will be coming out right around P7, right behind Scientist and Shahir. And now onto the pit straight here. Once again the battle resumes for Nabil and Elia. Seems like Nabil might have just pulled enough of a gap into turn 1 here, and he will stay ahead. Up ahead of him is Womax on 6 laps, all hard tires here. So not over just yet. Nabil staying out much longer, now coming back at the drivers in front of him with fresher tires. Elia picks up another 3-second time penalty.
Amazing. As we see Kenrick in the pits just now, in the softs, is Kenrick deciding to take the soft fastest time away from Charis? Do you think that's going to be possible?
It might just be 3 laps fresher softs. Maybe it will do the job, maybe it will not. Maybe someone else will decide to go for the fastest lap at the end here. We'll find out shortly if anyone decides to go for it at the end of the race. 10 seconds is the gap between Charis and, well, 9 seconds is the gap between Charis and Zach, so it's not coming down by any means. The soft tire is still fresh at this stage here. Sweets and Lampy, they were pretty close here into the middle sector by the looks of it, but now into the last section here, he is starting to reel in again. Shahir has closed back in as well. Scientist is closing back in. Hot Stuff is closing in. So the battle for P3, I think it's gonna be between these 5 drivers or 6 drivers even come the end of the race. And into turn 1 here, Switz on the outside, Switz on the inside this time, dummies it and sends it on Lamphy, on his fellow countryman, into turn 1, gets the exit out of turn 1 and drives away. And clean as you like. 12 seconds the gap though. I think he's gonna have to look behind instead of looking ahead now.
Well, he could also just look in front, but the Sweets have the pace to catch up to Zach though, as well as the tire life, because you gotta remember, the more you push, the more your tire is gonna degrade. And do you really want to spend all your tire away catching up to something that's 9 seconds in front of you, or do you want to just make sure that the cars behind you don't go in front of you?
Well, we're gonna have to find out one way or another. As Switz, I think he's going for it. He's trying to catch up to Zach up ahead. The gap is still floating around 11 seconds. Lampi and Shahe are being dragged along here. Scientist and Hot Stuff here, and you can see here Hot Stuff now on the freshest soft medium tires between these two is closing in the middle sector here now. Third sector, I shall say. This is the third sector.
But Hot Stuff, even though it has the flashy tires, is running low on energy. I think that's gonna be a problem for him in terms of trying to catch up. But I guess he could use as much as he likes. Just hope that he has just enough for what he needs at the most when to overtake someone. I guess. Nabil up here, right close to Womax, right on the bumper. He's gonna be able to get a DRS on the next exit onto T20. Will he get the overtake done this time around though? As you pass this DRS zone, DRS flaps open, overtakes on.
Oh, Womax takes the inside line here. Nabil around the outside, but gets the O-spin on the outside. Into turn 1, locks up though, goes a little bit wide, but still keeps it ahead. And now Womax and Elia on those similarly aged hard tires are going to have to battle it out in the middle sector though. Nabil will try to pull away in the end of first sector here into the second sector. Nabil will try to pull away. Speaking of pulling away though, look at someone who has pulled away. It is Switz in P3, has pulled out a 2 seconds gap to Lamfi, and he has closed down a further 1 second to Zach. So with 7 or 8 laps to go, the gap is starting to come down. I feel it might be possible. Elia going for a move there on Zach, and what has happened there? Elia has crashed coming out of the hairpin, and that has brought out a full safety car one more time. Sharis being so lucky there, he has just entered the pit lane here right before he passed that last corner, and a fresh set of soft tires on his car here. Zach's also into the pits. I'm assuming everyone is going to go into the pits right now.
No, but if Zach wasn't in the pits, you have been closer to Charis, even though you wouldn't have tires for it though.
I think fresh tires will win the race. Whoever gets fresher tires here in the safety car restart, they will have the position. As we saw with Shahe in the first safety car, you do not want to be staying on any older tires. And looks like everyone is in. Hot Stuff though, what is he doing?
He has fresh tires though. He only has 3 laps old mediums. He can definitely run it. He is slightly graded, but I believe he can hold it on his own. But he's gonna get flanked around by Switz, Lamfi, Shahir, as well as Ernest.
Oh, everyone. Exactly.
Gonna hunt them down like sharks. Everyone's on the soft part.
Everybody's on the softs. Wow.
This is either gonna be a massacre, or we're gonna see a heroic defend from Hot Stuff.
He'll have to pull off a Checo Perez kind of defense here. If he has to. He has to.
Gotten a penalty from speeding the pit lane.
That's just a 3-second track limits warning there. And yeah, so far, contrary to what we predicted at the start of the session, we don't have too many track limit penalties handed out just yet. Probably Hide, who jokingly mentioned he would have gotten disqualified from those penalties. Well, he got disqualified from standing on the grid because he couldn't race. So one way or another, he self-fulfilled that prophecy. And yeah, we have 10 drivers left out here, with Hide being the first one to getting DSQ'd. Zanubi got DSQ'd as well after a collision with one of the Aston Martins, I believe, and was pointed on the wrong way, could not come back onto the track on time, and that, the game decided, you gotta go, and he had to go. And both the Alpines, both the Alpines now, after what was looking like a strong show by them, both of them are out of the race. So no points for the Alpines as well today.
Yeah, that is very, very unfortunate for Alpine. Double no pointers. But I think it's true to like what Alpine does last season, isn't it? Huh?
Yep. And safety car once again. Another lap, another moment to breathe. What do you say it's gonna happen on the restart? A lap from now, what do you expect is happening? right here into turn 1, Nick?
I expect some drivers to do something that's not safe and might collect the entire grid. But at the end of the day, we have to put faith in these drivers. They know what's on the line. But it's really anyone's game at this point. The only one I'm concerned about is hot stuff in the medium since everyone's in the soft. But he has decided his fate. I think it's up to us to see what will end up with the two of them, as we see Kendrick as well as Womax both in very close proximity, which I don't understand. You're in a safety car. You don't need to race someone side by side. This is not a double file safety car. This is a single file safety car. Drivers, you should really be careful who you're doing this.
Oh, there is a 5-second penalty for Kendrick there. He might have run into the back of Womax. And is that a front wing that is missing from the Aston Martin by the looks of it? Looks like there is still a full front wing. There is a full front wing, but I wonder how hard that collision was.
At the end of the day, this is why I say you should always be safe in these kind of situations, because what's the point of doing all these stunts when you're supposed to be preparing for a race start? You're not helping your case in terms of winning a race, especially when you're that back of the grid. So I don't really understand what their point is.
Yeah, and 5 seconds will be added to his race finishing time regardless of what happens here. So that's not gonna help him in any case. If he's doing it intentionally though, well, that's definitely going to be looked at this towards after the race if someone would like to report it. Reminder that you can't simply go side by side with someone on the safety cars just to intimidate them or so. It is part of the real life rules, and it's also part of our rules here. But now, getting back on the action, we have 5 laps to go. 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. That's going to be 4 laps here of racing to the finishing line. Hot stuff on the medium tires here in P3. Take us away, Nick. What's going to happen in turn 1 here?
Turn 1, everyone's single file right now, as you see. Maybe Kendrick might take a move on Womax. They're all side by side right now. Right now in the front, Bab's pretty consistent, as you see. Kendrick side by side next to Womax might make the move. Actually makes the move, even though with a possible damage front wing, he has taken the position of P9 with penalty. But as you see, the gap in front actually hot stuff, 1.4 seconds in front, behind Zach. The gap is slightly increasing, but would that be just because of a colder medium tire, or would
I think it's just probably because of these soft tires are so much superior right now, and Switz is not waiting for he will have to wait for another corner here. I think he'll want to make a move on this back straight here, latch on to the top two who are starting to pull away. Zach is also trying to stay with Sharis here, but Sharis is doing his best to stay up in front. Now, as you can see here, into this middle sector, hairpin here on up to the back straight. Hot stuff defends valiantly, but on the inside goes Switz, takes the inside line and goes up into P3, and now Lampy is coming through and he is going to start to fall down the order, I presume. Oh, defends it so nicely just for another corner. So now Lampy gets a cutback here, gets a better exit out of the corner, but now dirty air in this middle sector, in this triple right-hander here, not the middle sector, the triple right-hander here, and into the last corner. Can he be close enough to launch an attack into turn 1?
No, maybe, but I think everyone's right now is eyeing for the DRS button to show up. He's like, come on, give me the DRS. Everyone's just using up all their battery just to overtake everyone right now, but it's definitely going to be a very interesting train, as you see Hot Stuff defending strong just to make sure that Sharis does not get as much pressure as he needs to, because he already let Switz by. He definitely does not want to let another competitor by, and make sure that Sharis only has to take care of Zach in this entire ordeal, the last 3 laps of this race. As you see Hot Stuff trailing behind with Lamphy and Shahir. Ernest also behind, but slowly pulling behind, can't able to catch up. Nabil though, 3/10 behind Ernest. If Nabil would like to, you can try to make an overtake, or you could just keep it clean and let the penalty take care of
he could go for an overtake, but he has been overtaken here by Kendrick into the hairpin. He made a move on the inside, and Nabil, Well, he did not close the door early enough and let him through. And there you go. Hot Stuff has been overtaken here by Lamphy into the hairpin at the end of the back straight here. Now Lamphy is through. Next up is probably going to be Shahid. Lamphy, Nabil and Kendrick are trading positions once again. So it's still going back and forth between these two. But we turn our attention to Hot Stuff once again, who has to defend for his life here. On the exit here, you can see he's running low on battery. Sharis on the soft tires here is right on his tail into the last two corners here.
Yeah, Hot Stuff is definitely yelling for the race control to enable DRS as DRS is getting enabled. Hopefully, with this, he's able to breathe some fresh air as he gets the DRS from Lamphy in the front in the later stages of this lap. But does it matter as Shahir overtakes Hot Stuff?
He tries to hang it around the outside though. No, not enough grip on the hard tires. Gets a bit squiggly on the exit, and that's immediately an opportunity for Ernest, the scientist, to get a move on in this first sector here on the SS. As you can see, despite being on those the medium tires for 7 laps, I think there's still a little bit of life now. This soft tires might start to lose an edge here. Hot Stuff still trying to hang on with DRS, but no, he is falling further and further behind. I think this is an overtake coming here. This might even be a double overtake as Nabil now finds himself pretty close on the back of Scientist here. This might be a triple overtake here or double overtake onto the next corner here. As you can see, all these 3 drivers converging on each other into the heavy braking zone. Who's gonna brake later? Looks like Nabil goes for a later switchback line and still cannot find a way through. Scientist has found his way through now, and he's up into P6. Womax and Kendrick side by side as well in the background, as you can see, now into this little braking zone here. Womax gets the inside, gets the drive out of the corner, but Kendrick gets the inside line as well. Side by side they are into the triple right-hander. Who's gonna be brave around the outside? Who's gonna come out ahead? Womax is still ahead, side by side still they are, and wow, beautifully, respectfully leaving space there, and you'd love to see that now.
Well, I think Kendrick actually made a mistake given how they were in front of Nabil at some point, but they I think fell off. As you see Nabil closing in. I think you can see overtake. Yes, he does.
Yes, he
Hot
does.
Stuff getting eaten up alive on the tire grid. But he has to hold up for one more lap, or else Kendrick or Womax might overtake them. And
One more lap.
One more lap. Down to P10. It is the final lap.
It is the final lap indeed, and look at what has transpired up in front. Sweets has caught up by 2 seconds here, and now they're going to play DRS chicken, are they? And well, looks like no. Sweets hangs back for the DRS. Shahid is holding onto the back of Lamphy here, so it's still not over here. Last lap, but we still have battles all over the track here. Now Sweets is going for a move on the outside. He still has battery. Now he pulls ahead. Straight into P2 he goes, and at the background you can see Shahid now trying to go for a move on Lamphy, but he's too far off, and he will have to stay back in this middle sector, towards the end of this middle sector here. Now, what can Hot Stuff do as he is defending valiantly into this middle sector, towards the end of middle sector here. Now, start of third sector, I think he has done just enough to survive for a little bit longer. But let's turn our attention to once again to the front here. 3 races in a row. It's gonna be race number 3, win number 3 for Sharis, and he takes home the win once again. Switz comes home in P2, Zach comes home in P3, Lamphy, well played there, comes home in P4, Shahid P5, Scientist drops to P8 after those penalties, so promotes Shahid and Nabil to 6 and 7. Womax and Kendrick, well, one of them has actually made the jump on Scientist here, and we'll wait to see who gets the driver of the day. There you go, the game gives it to Womax, I believe. Well, it might be correct, it might not be, but we will have the race control decided after the race. And as you can see there, once again, a floating performance there for the Red Bull. 3 wins out of 3 races for Sharis. That is, if that's not dominant, I don't know what's the word for it. Takes another win here.
Amazing drive from Shahir though, from Sharis though, from all the way from P1 to P5 and going back into P1. It's definitely been a very eventful race for Sharis, that's for sure. Switz as well, been in the line, been in the shadows trying to fight his way through the grid and finally got rewarded for it. And now now Switz in P2 in front of Zack. Do you expect Switz to be in P2? I did not expect Switz to be in P2.
Oh, that was
Definitely
definitely not in the books there, but he somehow found some pace on the closing stages here, and made up that qualifying deficit, I would say, that he had to Zack, and found some pace, maybe some momentum here towards the end of the race, and did well to claim that P2 on the last lap here. And well, I'd say good points though. He will be happy that Mercedes are finally on the podium once again and scoring good points here. He'll be happy. Red Bull once again, I think they've stolen the show today. Unfortunate for Hot Stuff, as we saw, defended well, valiantly, but he has I think made that mistake of staying on the soft tires at the end, on the medium tires at the end. I think that's definitely what costed him.
That is definitely unfortunate for him. But this is power racing. You can't get good races every single day, but you live and you learn. And hopefully the Red Bulls can come back stronger next week. That is for sure.
Yes, speaking of next week, we are headed to the Mexican Grand Prix in line with the real life Grand Prix as well. So, well, stay tuned. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. If you'd love to join us for racing, feel free to join our Discord server. We'll meet you up there. And well, it has been an eventful but beautiful USA Grand Prix here at Circuit of the Americas. Always serves up a treat in terms of racing. And we will see you all next weekend at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez for the Mexican Grand Prix, which is going to be round number 4. Till then, Nick.
See ya. Bye.
Bye-bye.
If you want to join us in racing here in F1, you could join us through our Discord link in the description. We do F1 races as well as AC and ACC races. So if you are into sim racing, if you want to join a local community, we are in Malaysia. You can join us. We are open to all. We like to discuss about anything racing related. And yeah, hope to see you guys next week.
Cheers, everyone. And well, you know what? I'll just post the Discord link if anyone would love to join us. See y'all and stay safe. Till then, we'll meet again.
Bye.